You wake up before the alarm again. Not because you're disciplined, because your nervous system is trained. Years of repetition have hardwired the schedule. Same employer, same rhythm, same promises you repeat to yourself, dependable pay, benefits, stability. Objectively, you're doing well, better than the generation before you. Yet the math doesn't match the feeling. Despite earning more, you're constantly tight, always watching the clock, the account balance, the calendar. That contradiction isn't accidental. It's the mechanism. This is what the salary system actually does. Picture a professional in her mid-30s, strong resume, solid income, statistically ahead. On paper, she's supposed to feel secure. She doesn't. Her pay arrives on schedule, but ownership never really happens. The money doesn't land, it's rerouted, automatically distributed into obligations that existed before the paycheck did. Housing claims the largest share. Transportation absorbs another chunk. Food, utilities, subscriptions, insurance, all silently pre-approved withdrawals. By the time she mentally registers being paid, nearly everything has already been assigned elsewhere. What's left isn't enough to build anything meaningful, but it is enough to maintain the appearance of success. And that's the point. The system doesn't starve you, it pacifies you. Comfort replaces urgency. Motion replaces progress. You feel functional, not free. When income arrives in full but exits in fragments, the loss never feels dramatic. There's no single moment where you realize you're standing still. You're busy living, not accumulating. That's the first lock. The second one forms earlier. You're encouraged to invest in yourself. Education, credentials, advancement. Often with borrowed money. That investment creates pressure to accept stability over flexibility. Once the paycheck arrives, your surroundings adjust to match it. Slight upgrades at first, then larger ones. Each increase feels justified, earned, responsible. But every upgrade quietly raises the minimum income you now require to survive. Your lifestyle begins to depend on continuity. At that point, leaving isn't a decision. It's a threat. This isn't forced. It's invited. And human nature accepts the invitation almost every time. Progress becomes visual instead of financial. Better address, better car, better optics. The numbers grow, but the margin doesn't. High earners and low earners often experience the same stress because freedom isn't tied to income size. It's tied to how much of that income remains unclaimed. And the system is extremely efficient at shrinking that remainder. Consider someone earning well into six figures who still feels uneasy, not because they dislike their job, but because walking away would collapse everything they've committed to: mortgage, vehicles, tuition. Long-term contracts stacked on top of short-term paychecks. Raises don't reduce the pressure. They simply allow more obligations to be layered on top. The tension stays constant. That's not bad luck. That's structural. When most of your future income is already promised elsewhere, you stop being flexible. You become reliable, predictable, easy to model. That reliability is valuable, just not to you. You're not the beneficiary, you're the input. Now imagine removing the paycheck. No gradual transition, just absence. How long before the system you're living inside starts pushing back? Weeks? A couple of months? If the answer is short, that isn't stability, it's dependency with better furniture. Many professionals are closer to disruption than they realize, not because they earn too little, but because none of what they earn creates distance from risk. This arrangement feels normal because it's common, but common doesn't mean unavoidable. The shift happens when income stops being the goal and becomes a tool, when you separate earning from owning, when you intentionally protect space between what comes in and what goes out, when that space is redirected toward things that don't demand your presence to function. The psychological difference between zero margin and a few months of runway is massive. It changes how you negotiate, what you tolerate, and what risks you're willing to consider. The objective isn't quitting tomorrow. It's removing the urgency that makes quitting impossible. The system relies on you mistaking comfort for freedom. Once you see the distinction, the trap loses most of its power. Breaking out doesn't require genius or luck, only awareness and restraint. And once that awareness clicks, it doesn't go away.